sentries, wearing their fezzes and staring with the empty eyes of early photography. Omar Yussef nodded to the listless waiter, who half rose from his seat, gesturing that he should stay where he was, and headed to the table occupied by George Saba. "Did you have any trouble with the Martyrs' Brigade sentries on the way up here, Abu Ramiz?" Saba asked. He used the unique mixture of respect and familiarity, connoted by calling a man Abu, father of, and joining it to the name of his eldest son. "Just one bastard who nearly spat on my shoe," said Omar Yussef. He smiled grimly. "But no one played the big hero with me tonight. In fact, there didn't seem to be many of them around." "That's bad. It means they expect trouble." George laughed. "You know that those great fighters for the freedom of the Palestinian people are always the first to get out of here when the Israelis come." George Saba was in his mid-30s. He was as big, unkempt and clumsy as Omar Yussef was small, neat and precise. His thick hair was striped white around the temples, and it sprayed above his strong, broad brow, like the crest of a stormy wave crashing against a rock. It was cold in the restaurant, and he wore a thick plaid shirt and an old blue anorak with its zipper pulled down to his full belly. Omar Yussef took pride in this former pupil, one of the first he had ever taught. Not because George was particularly successful in life, but rather for his honesty and his choice of a career that utilized what he had learned in Omar Yussef's history class. George Saba dealt in antiques. He bought the detritus of a better time as he saw it, and coaxed Arab and Persian wood back to its original warm gleam, replaced the missing tesserae in Syrian mother-of-pearl designs, and sold them mostly to Israelis passing his shop near the bypass road to the settlements. "I was reading a little today in that lovely old Bible you gave me, Abu Ramiz," George Saba said. "Ah, it's a beautiful book," Omar Yussef said. They shared a smile. Before Omar Yussef moved to the UN school, he had taught at the academy run by the Frere of St. John de la Salle in Bethlehem. It was there that George Saba had been one of his finest pupils. When he passed his baccalaureate, Omar Yussef had given him a Bible bound in dimpled black leather. It had been a gift to Omar Yussef's dear father from a priest in Jerusalem, back in the time of the Ottoman Empire. The Bible, which was in an Arabic translation, was old even then. Omar Yussef's father had befriended the priest one day at the home of a Turkish bey. At that time, there was nothing strange or blameworthy in a close acquaintance between a Roman Catholic priest from the Patriarchate near the Jaffa Gate in Jerusalem and the Muslim Mukhtar of a village surrounded by olive groves south of the city. By the time Omar Yussef gave the Bible to George Saba, Muslims and Christians lived more separately, and a little hatefully. Now it was even worse. "It's not the religious message, you see. God knows if there were no Bible and no Quran, how much happier would our troubled little town be? If the famous star had shone for the wise men above, let's say, Baghdad instead of Bethlehem, life would be much brighter here," Saba said. "It's only that this Bible in particular makes me think of all that you did for me." Omar Yussef poured himself some mineral water from a tall plastic bottle. His dark brown eyes were glassy with sudden emotion. The past came upon him and touched him deeply. This aged Bible, and the learned hands that left the grease and sweat and reverence of their fingertips on the thin paper of its dignified pages. The memory of his own dear father, who was 30 years gone.